What's up? It's Jeremy Picker from Amber Creative.
This is Deanna with In the Zoning and Print Girl Mafia.
This is Ray Weiss with Printing the Night of the Lion.
You're listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted by Terry Combs RG, Regular Guy, and Aaron Montgomery.
The place to be for industry news.
The best dad jokes on earth, along with relevant topics to apparel decorators.
Fashion to the people.
All right, welcome into the show. It is Friday, May 29th, 2026. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Erich Campbell, and very obviously not Aaron Montgomery, who is, as we speak, presenting a seminar at the DAX show in Tampa. So seeing a lot of great stuff coming out of DAX. But this week, Terry and I are going to attempt to kind of wrap up the conversation from last week on niche markets, especially for like DTF decorators. So all of you folks who've been watching all of this print-on-demand madness everywhere at all the shows, you know this is the kind of ideas you've been looking for.
Absolutely. And make sure you stay till the very end of the show today. Aaron is going to do a secret sauce for us. He recorded it, and we think you're going to like it. It's the Combo Technique Upsell. So
always looking forward to Aaron's recorded stuff. He always has great insights, and especially talking about this kind of stuff.
Yeah. You know, Aaron used to be able to do the show from DAX, but this year they schedule one of his seminars right in the middle of the show, so he hasn't been able to jump over and do that. But I guess when you only have a 2-day show, which most shows should be, by the way, if you're listening out there, 2-day show, you got to squeeze those seminars in. So.
Well, we're seeing lots of changes all around the show world, so by all means, if you're into the shows going on, check in with all your educators, check in with everybody and see how things are going on. Lots of stuff moving around, but seeing lots of energy and great stuff. Like I said, I commented this morning and had a picture from the DAX show with Aaron out there working on the floor, and I'm like, Aaron Montgomery putting in the work, because he's been out there just representing Super Gamut in a real way. So good job, Aaron, and keep up the education. As you know, it's a big thing we do here.
Exactly right. And, no news today. And I'm not saying that there isn't any news, but, Eric, maybe all the consolidation has consolidated so much that we're all working for Skynet now, and there is no news.
Yeah, I don't know who Skynet is yet. I'm sure we're going to find out. But yeah, there's plenty of that going on. Honestly, we will catch up with news as it comes back. We have all these wonderful contributors, and so by all means, catch back in. But we'll take a break. We'll have a bit of a shorter show maybe this week, as we always say that before we talk forever. Keep it tight and enjoy the news as it comes back.
And if anybody hears any dog barking, we're in the process of getting moved out of this house. And as you can see, my bookshelves are empty. Next week, those bookshelves won't be there. But people in and out all day and doing little chores and things like that, getting the house ready for my buyers. And Aaron, we're about 2 weeks out from me not broadcasting from this office. So
that's crazy. I mean, it's kind of busy all over for everybody, but I've always wondered, of like, every week we hear it's a little more hollow in that office of yours. So.
Exactly right. Somebody came and picked up my couch yesterday, so and I thought, oh man, it's going to be echoey in here. But hey, it is what it is, right?
Hey, change is coming for everybody. It's not just
we've done this show from live on trade show floors. We've done it from hotel rooms. We've done it a couple of times from hotel bars. So
Yeah, we've done it from everywhere. So I'm sure as the new season of Two Other Guys comes in, which as things always change, we'll have to see how the new location holds up, or what we have to do to keep you on the air, my friend.
Exactly right. But hey, no news. But I have a dad joke.
Oh, if you got a dad joke, I've got an intro for you.
All right.
Let's do it.
Hey, Eric, there's an island off the coast of Italy with 5 million Sicilians.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's the biggest number I've ever heard. 5 million Sicilian.
5 million Sicilian. That is rough right there. That is rough. I mean,
that is the definition of a dad joke.
That is about as much dad joke as you can get per per unit. That's pretty rough. 5 million Sicilian. Yeah, I would usually go, I'll remember that one. Not that one. No, I'm not retelling that one. That was too dangerous.
Anyway, hey, before we dive in, we want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We still need your voices. We would love to have the regulators participate in our show intros. Go to osg.link/intro, read a few sentences, be a part of every show. Don't be left out. We are always looking for new guests, so if you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com/2, the number 2, regular guys to book a future episode, or email us at info@tworegularguys.com with your show ideas. If you are listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all of your industry friends so they can become regulators too. We would appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcast, YouTube Podcast, wherever you do your podcast listening, we are there. And if you're watching us live right now, please join in with your comments and your questions and your thoughts on niche markets as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely, folks. Yeah, we would love to hear from you and the kind of things you've been doing on the shop floor. And if nothing else, take this as some brainstorming time, get some inspiration, and get out there and sell. This is what we got to do.
Yeah, and let's start with, let me repeat what Aaron said last week.
Yeah.
DTF is not the niche by itself or niche by itself. DTF really isn't a niche anymore. It's a production method. The niche is who you serve and what problem you solve for them. So this is where the opportunity gets clear. So let's dive into as many ideas as we can get to today, Eric. And as always, with all of our niche market discussions, we're not discussing or suggesting that you pick number 5 and run with it. We're attempting to stimulate thought and ideas about your passions and your opportunities. So let's go back and forth. Let me kick off for us, Eric.
Absolutely.
The first one is memorial and celebration of life apparel. And you handle this with care, but it's a real need, and this is kind of a cultural thing too. Phoenix is 30% Hispanic. And that culture, they love the memorial shirts and things like that. So, and it's, it doesn't have to be a shirt. It can be a blanket. It can be a tote. Any keepsake that, things for memorial walks, reunions, celebrations of life, any of those type of things. But DTF can reproduce full color images. That means a photograph of the departed, and with this particular niche market, it's all about the service. It's all about compassion. It's all about speed. Making this, making the DTF the perfect tool for participating in this marketplace. Eric, you probably, when you were in New Mexico, you probably saw a lot of this as well.
Oh, constantly. I mean, and I think that the thing that makes it interesting, or at least makes this DTF interesting for me, is that it was really classically, for us, it was like black t-shirt, white print, often single color, maybe duotone, pretty simple stuff, and it was usually photographic. The fact that we have such a quick availability for full color renditions, for full color photographic stuff, really it plays to that kind of group of folks. And yeah, absolutely, in New Mexico, I mean, as a New Mexico native, I grew up seeing in memorial shirts are super, super common. The great thing is, you can set up a very nice template. The style is something that stays pretty uniform, but then we can very easily add things from people. The assets don't have to be processed the same way they used to be for screen print. I mean, as much as I do love screen print traditionally for all of these things, DTF allows us to handle that, and to handle things like changing numbers of people who want the shirt, sudden reorders, and kind of things that really do happen a lot around these events. And I mean, it like I said, like we said, like you said, you have to handle it with a lot of delicacy. But if this is something that culturally is in your area, how this is, where there frequently are going to be lots of revisions. There's a lot of people with opinions getting things together, and then we have a lot of work on the assets to get them ready for art. At least with DTF, yes, you have to have nice assets. Yes, there's still prep involved. It's a little bit simpler than what we used to do back in the day, having to render photographic stuff into these kind of like inexpensive, easy to produce shirts. DTF just really takes a lot of that process and makes it simple.
Yeah, and Eric, it's just like family reunions. They want a 2.4, they want a 4X, and
Yes.
not friendly to the screen printer. You know, I'm sure that the regulators have heard me say 1,000 times on here. You know, when somebody walked into my screen printing shop and said they were having a family reunion, you just cringe because please have 150 people in your family. No, 17. Yep. And Susie's a 2.4, and Uncle Bob's a 4X, and I don't want to pay for more extra screens. Just do them all the same size.
Not only that, but invariably when we were dealing with that kind of work, whether it's family reunions or this, there's someone who wants an object that is not a shirt, somebody who wants, someone like me. You guys know me. I wear a button-up shirt 24/7. The concept of me, you won't see the printed shirt I'm wearing because it's never visible. I wear a button-up shirt. So it's like there's always some guy like me who's like, no, I want it on the back of a Dickie's work shirt. I want it on, especially for the Memorial of Life stuff. We had a lot of that, or a patch or something. DTF just allows you to decorate on just about anything. I mean, it's a much simpler process for this. Just really much easier.
And you alluded to this before too. The night before, it's Uncle James was able to get into town after all. He's an XL. Can you get me another shirt? You know, so.
Oh, and this is one of those great arguments for, I know it sounds terrible, but like ordering your gang sheet and over-ordering a little bit. This is a fantastic place to do that. And invariably, there's a really high chance somebody wants a couple more, or if you offer them at the end, say, hey, we have a couple of extra transfers. Is this something you guys would want for a reduced cost or something? You can usually recoup that, even if that's a problem. I'll say I used to do this in the embroidered patch world too, because we would often have these outsourced. Very frequently, it was so cheap to have them outsourced, we would just order more than that initial order and make that cost part of our initial setup, and we would just have them for the reorder. And in this case, even if you're not producing DTF transfers in-house, I think it makes a lot of sense to do that kind of slight over-ordering and to anticipate that and price that into your initial layout.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. All right, what's next? You want to grab the next one for us?
Absolutely, and this is one that actually, believe it or not, I actually have some ties to myself, because my wife is a massive animal lover, a cat lover, and if you guys know, we have 6 cats, all rescues, and yes, that's too many cats, but hey, they are, you love them anyway. But the next one is Rescue, Foster, and Animal Advocacy Merge. So animal rescues, foster networks, the breed-specific kind of groups and clubs, shelters, adoption events, they're always going to need fundraising and awareness. And DTF is ideal for that. You got colorful designs, highly emotional designs, or even individual pet photos or breed artwork, slogans, event themes, and small runs for fundraisers. The niche here can be like fundraising merch for animal rescue groups, but I'm going to say honestly, all of these groups have kind of some commonalities that, funny enough, it kind of plays into the stuff we've been talking about before. The ability to reproduce photo accurate stuff from the resources you have quickly is massive, and that's going to be huge here, because especially when you're talking about breed specific groups or people who are doing individual kind of clubs, they want very specific, very accurate artwork. They want something that's usually personal, and so this is a great place for that. And on top of it, there's tons of people trying to raise money, raise awareness, and if you can help them with t-shirt sales, we talked about merch fulfillment before, this is right up that same alley. I cannot stress enough that there's a million of these little groups around. So, and once you get in with one and you can prove that model, it's very simple then to take that model and walk through the rest of these groups.
1,000%. Yeah. You know, and this falls into the category that I talk about a lot, is people will pay for what they're passionate about. And people who are involved in this are passionate about it, and they want other people to know that they're passionate about it. So it's a great marketplace. Hey, if you're not an animal lover, don't do this. But I will tell you, when you said having 6 cats, my son Mike, his sister-in-law said, we have these 3 kittens that we need to get nursed back to health. Would you guys take them in for about a month and until they get healthy again, and we can get them adopted? And guess who now owns 3 cats? So
Yeah, no, that's what happened to us. We already had 3, and then over the course, these are pandemic cats. So we took in a mom and all of her kittens during the pandemic, and all the family was like, "Oh yeah, we all want cats." One kitten got taken up by family, and the other 3 we just couldn't bear to turn them out. So
well, they couldn't get those little masks on them,
Yeah, they don't wear the little masks.
little COVID masks.
Here's what I'm going to say about this. Being from, and like I said, my wife's first word as a human being on Earth was kitty. So I've lived in a house with cats for quite some time now. People who are serious about animals are serious about animals in a way that you cannot fathom if you're not an animal person. It is absolutely, we want to talk about a passion thing, this is it. Though we're talking about rescue and foster and animal advocacy merch, I just want to tell you guys, I have seen so many people, especially we're talking about those breed groups. The breed groups, the people who do shows, they will spend inordinate amounts of money on, especially if you have a show animal, a named show animal that you take to shows. They want objects made with that animal's photograph exactly, and if you're not doing that for DTF and you're in the animal business, you should be, because it's ridiculous what they'll spend on that sometimes. And on top of that, honestly, in the embroidery world, I have known incredible artists who digitize specific animals, something that I hate doing, because it's always like, oh, you've missed there's a little bit of hair on the side of the muzzle that's this color that you haven't quite gotten, and you're like, we've got a 2-inch decoration that I'm trying to make out of thread. I can do no more. There are times where I like to turn this over to people who love this stuff, but the funny thing is I illustrate that to say that these are people who really love this world and these animals, and for whom the ability to produce this stuff, and then the fact that you can, like we talked about before, gang sheet this up and have stuff for different sizes and different positions, placements, garments, means you can really service them without a lot of outlay the way we used to have to do when we were doing custom art and, like I said, with embroidery, digitizing them individually and spending all that time. With DTF, with digital production, it's just a very easy on-ramp to, honestly, a pretty lucrative group of folks.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but our art guy, Dane Clement, he has a side gig where he does pet portraits. And
It's huge.
And he's a huge pet lover too, so it's like a passion project for him. And one more quick side note: several years ago, I had somebody bought a direct-to-garment printer from me. He was an animal photographer, a dog specifically photographer, and he goes, "No, I'm not like the local dog photographer. I do magazine covers for dog magazines and all these different things." And he said, people are always asking me about getting apparel with that picture on it. And so he bought a direct-to-garment printer just to satisfy that niche in the marketplace. So it's a huge opportunity. If you're out there and you're a DTF person, either you own a machine or you're buying transfers and you love animals, this is a perfect niche market for you.
Oh yeah, and by the way, take this out into the business world and go to veterinary, medicine. Go to the vets, go to kennels, go to the businesses that align with this, and you'll not only be able to do the traditional business-to-business work that you would do for them in this way, but then also expose yourself to the people who have these sorts of things. I mean, many of them have community boards up where you can place more advertising. And as much as we talk about, more modern forms of advertising, it's surprising what the old, flyer on the board in the vet's office gets you, because that's a captive audience who has to sit in that office and wait. Someone who loves their animal and just be in that vet's office waiting for them on, and not leaving them to their own devices will definitely be sitting there looking at that picture, looking at that the ad for your garments, and think twice.
Yeah, and that's an excellent idea. And Aaron at Super Gamut, a lot of photographs of Super Gamut are not of the guys working there. It's of their shop dog.
Always, yeah, always. It's like I said, this is something that's fairly universal. It's rare you don't have somebody who has some animal connection. So yeah, get out there, make some samples. It's a worthwhile thing to do.
Yeah.
With that, we want to take the next one, sir?
Yeah. Youth sports, and I'm going to expand this to all the way up to high school sports, parent sideline shops. You know, you're not going to go to the local high school and sell them football uniforms, but you can certainly sell, you can sell to the football boosters shirts that the guys wear under their uniforms. They put a T-shirt on before they put the pads on, and it might say team, it might say family, it might say defense, it might say offense. But then on the sidelines, especially moms, love to wear the gear that has their kid's name on it, or you know, any of those types of things. So you're looking at grandparent gear, sibling shirts, little brothers and sisters that spend every Saturday running around the soccer field while their older brothers or sisters are playing. They're like wild children running around. I had a lot of kids play soccer, so there's always some little kid running around and occasionally running onto the field. Tournament shirts, coach gifts. I remember one year my twin son's soccer coach. He came to me and wanted to get hats for all the kids after the last game, and we had a picnic, and he got hats with the team name on them, you know, to give to all the kids, you know, to kind of remember their season. But you know, it's that whole need to identify and belong, be a part of. Again, DTF, perfect for that. You know, you can do team shirts, a picture, especially youth soccer or that sort of thing, a picture of the team on a T-shirt. The kids would eat that up, you know, and then of course, you know, the parents as well, and you know, you can kind of get locked into it's if you're doing uniforms. I've done a lot of soccer uniforms in the past for youth soccer, and you don't get one team, you get 17 teams, you know. And so you can make that connection with all the teams by, you know, maybe it's a fundraiser, maybe the coach or the assistant coach. I was always assistant coach, never quite out there to teach them how to do it, but I was the wrangler, you know, because my kids from the age of 6 played spring soccer, winter indoor soccer, fall soccer, and so, you know, we spent a lot of time and went through a lot of apparel for the other parents, that sort of thing. So, thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll say this: not having kiddos, I don't have that direct experience of it. What I will say is, having gone from someplace where, admittedly, Albuquerque, New Mexico, where I came from, certainly a middle-range, larger place than where I'm living now. I now live in a town of 5,000 people. Certainly, it is among a bunch of other towns. But the thing is, I'm going to tell you, I have been shocked at how many people who are possibly unrelated, who have like high school, they have signs in the yard for the high school team. I mean, small town sports is so crazy.
Huge.
It is so huge. People are wearing the high school gear who are not related, who do not have kids, who are just there to support. There are boosters all over the place, and I cannot imagine that there's not a place for DTF in this space, because it is everywhere. And like I said, very surprising how much of it is on people who are not necessarily related to team. Where I come from and the kind of business I used to do, it was really more about, it was direct team. It was people who are immediately connected. I now have had kind of my eyes open to what it's like in a little more rural locations where high school football events are not the same kind of event that you expect them to be in the city. So I will say I am corrected. If somebody who's ever told me, hey, it's a bigger deal out where I'm from, I get it now. I have seen that the high school team might be everywhere, might be in your local stores, might be everywhere else. And here's the thing, too, to think about. If you do have a local main street, even if you don't have a place where you're selling directly, think about partnering with the local gift shop, coffee shop, restaurant, whatever, and seeing if you can put together a spirit wear store, even physically, because I've seen the need for it and the desire, and it really can be something that you can fulfill easily as part of the rest of this. Though, as you said, DTF, especially if you're doing production in-house of transfers, allows you to do that really specific one-off customization. All of these categories we talked about, I can see a place where you could increase your per item price to give that one-off single person audience customization that just can't be done in a lot of other ways. So I think there's kind of room for all of that there, and it's kind of interesting to see. But just like every other category, once you have a place where people are ascribing to identity that is valuable to them, that is about their local community, that is about the people they care about, they're going to be engaged and want to get involved in it. The fact that you don't have to have these huge setups, and the fact that especially in the sports world you can use templating, it's stuff that's fairly universal. It means that you can serve multiple multiple locations, multiple groups without having to do a crazy amount of reinvention every time.
And keep an eye out for regional championships, state championship, football, baseball, lacrosse, all those different types of things. When my sons were in high school, they lost the state championship junior year. They won the state championship senior year, 4 overtimes, by the way. But if there was the opportunity then to do state championship shirts or regional championship shirts, league championship shirts, they would have sold like hotcakes. But me as a screen printer, a little more difficult to do on drop of a hat. Heck, by the time they got back from, they played for the championship at the Kansas State Stadium. By the time they got back to Overland Park, where I live, we could have had state championship shirts waiting for the team as they got off the bus. So
yeah, with the production being so much more streamlined, it's like you really can do some very quick turns. Plus, I know, just like a lot of the things I've seen out here, if there is a special event that happens, there's an occurrence, somebody has a massive play, you might be able to turn this around and have an immediate response shirt, or you might be able to have, like, there's a big rivalry, you might be able to do rivalry shirts the instant that something comes up or somebody has a nice turn of phrase, it's funny, you can turn that around and very quickly produce. And I think that with how connected this stuff is, it's awesome that you can do these kind of highly customized short run.
A lifetime ago, I did a small school near me had won a state championship in Ohio, and I went to the school and basically gave free shirts to the cheerleaders and for them to take orders. And they walked around with their yellow legal pad, and I'm sure walked through the lunchroom and pointed at each kid saying, "It's $10." Okay, because that's what I would have said. And they sold. This school probably had 200 kids in it. They sold 500 T-shirts.
That's awesome.
So, all right, what do we have next?
Something, once again, kind of near and dear to my heart. I love this concept here. Workplace culture and internal team drops. So, as stated, this could be for any kind of offices, but you think about the teams that people are on. You could be a dental office, a medical office, real estate teams, and I've done a lot of real estate work, and it's surprising how much of that, depending on the culture of the company, we might talk about that a little more, you can see some incredible kind of merch that they do. Salons, we talked about vets earlier, restaurants, banks, insurance offices, manufacturing, church staff, and tons of stuff. Church staff, let me tell you, I have done an immense amount of church staff, and funny enough, one of the ones I remember very distinctly is all the people who do production for churches. Church event now, especially if you guys have kind of a larger kind of church atmosphere, the production crew, the lighting, the sound, it's almost like working on a film crew at this point. And they have little crews that have their individual gear that have done tons of that stuff. But these groups might not necessarily want traditional uniforms, but they do kind of want a touchstone, something cultural to represent them. So it could be also things like onboarding packages. We've seen a lot of people moving toward onboarding packages. It was huge during the pandemic. I think it has now become just part of culture to still do these kind of onboarding initial packages, but especially for offsite people. Anniversary shirts, team building stuff for team building events. If you have events or days or meals or gatherings that you do, holiday stuff. Internal campaigns, so think things like if you do a rebranding, if you do a big push toward a project and you brand that push that as an event yourself, you do some sort of like rebuild, some sort of launch, that can be a campaign that you're doing internally within the company, some sort of safety initiative, those are really great too. And things like customer appreciation items, of course, things that are facing out toward that. All of these fit really well with DTF. Once again, digital production in general, but DTF directly because you have orders that are small and seasonal, tend to be design heavy, tend to be highly customized, and change frequently. So this is stuff that isn't going to be pulling up your old standard design and slapping it on some more gear. This is something where they're going to want something individual. And I'll say this, that this is something we didn't comment on earlier. From my perspective and what I've dealt with, highly trend related.
Yeah.
This is where you see an outside trend in the world. You see a certain kind of decoration that is now, in streetwear or on the high street or somewhere in fashion or something else. And we want to make a shirt that looks like that shirt, but it has to do with the new security thing that we're doing in our group here. We want a shirt that looks like this shirt from this music tour that's currently going on, but we want it for our internal team at the dental hygienist office, whatever it is. I've seen that so many times, that's super highly, and which means that it has that real high turnover too, because it's stuff that's not necessarily going to be the same over and over again. These things are all awesome for DTF. So what do you think about that? How have you encountered that kind of workplace culture drop?
Yeah, and a lot of folks, just like we've talked about 1,000 times on the show, people don't want to stock shirts for their employees.
No.
You can be the provider of those shirts. You can do the onboarding. You could provide them with 3 T-shirts and a sweatshirt, depending on what kind of company it is. As a screen printer, my crew always we provided them shirts with our logo on them to wear,
Sure.
and all the supervisors had polos. And so the supervisors were walking around with decorated polos. Yes, we decorated them ourselves, but every company, that's a great way to, I think people feel good about wearing their branded apparel, on the job, that sort of thing. But you can be the provider. There's no box in the back that, the mediums are all gone, we need to order 100 more. No, you do the onboarding package for everybody, and do those special events. That day where the entire company goes out and cleans parks or volunteers at the soup kitchen. You could provide the apparel for that. When you let people know that you can virtually put anything on a shirt for them, and in quantities as little as 1, their ideas are going to explode. Because again, back to me as a screen printer, their ideas were exploding, but I would have to kind of bring them back in and say, no, we can't do 10 shirts with 12 colors. That's we won't.
Well, that's the thing. I remember very distinctly doing event stuff that was similar. We have a giant event up in Santa Fe, New Mexico, called the Burning of Zozobra, where they burn this big effigy that's supposed to be Old Man Gloom, and it gets rid of all the bad feelings. The thing to understand about this is it's run by volunteers, right? So it's run by a big volunteer organization. My brain is leaving me right now. I think it might have been Rotary. I can't remember now who was the organization who runs all of it, and I'm probably wrong, but you'll have to get me if you're somebody from New Mexico and you can yell at me later because I said it wrong. But run by a big volunteer organization. The thing is, once, like all of the other productions, there were people on sound and people on different crews, and everybody wanted their own stuff. And for years and years, we couldn't really do anything. We went to doing sublimated patches, so very similar digital production. After we started doing sublimated patches, we were bordering all these patches, but every group, 2 people, 3 people who had a thing, they all had a special icon. So it's like they had a standard patch symbol for all of it that was for that year's Zozobra event, but underneath that, as part of it, we had an empty spot where they put an icon and a saying for their particular group. And so we had every group, we did these on these big gang sheets, and it was absolutely crazy. Everybody loved those patches, and everyone held on to it, and they were very desirable. And all that was, it was pretty simple to set up all of these icons. It's a little bit of extra management, but the amount of additional value is wild. Yeah. And to think that in this world DTF, now we can do that very simply. And especially, like we said, we're talking about gang sheets where you can add, you pretty much can use the entirety of your span to do quite a lot of this. I know I did a lot of cutting in my life, and I used to do automatic nesting. If you are good at nesting, you can really get a lot out of a sheet. It's
right.
Yes, there's additional cutting that has to be done. You've got to think about your time, but at the same time, like, you really can produce a lot and have a lot of stuff on hand for people at a pretty low cost. So it means being able to handle those re-up orders, being able to handle small amounts, and to put little custom stuff together. And in a world where, the big stopper is not art as much as it used to be, it just allows you to do incredible stuff. And I love this concept of, being able to quick turn on event stuff or on those gatherings, on the charitable stuff. So awesome. So it's like, once again, we have this stuff we talk about all the time, which is purpose-driven design and marketing. It is stuff that increases the feeling of affinity with the group. You can't really beat that as a DTF market. It's just exactly what you need. It's long tail, it allows for small production, but it doesn't hurt you on the end of trying to get that production prepared.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of this is just like you said. A lot of it is identifying with the group, and the next one we have here is outdoor micro community merch. So we're talking about targeting specific outdoor groups. Disc golf. Who knew this? When I used to live in Fountain Hills, which is on the other side of Phoenix, every time I would mention it to somebody, they're like, "Oh, do you disc golf?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "The Fountain Hills, Arizona has one of the premier disc golf courses in the country, and all disc golf people long to come to Fountain Hills to do disc golf around the fountain." So who knew? But and then there's pickleball clubs, and I love the idea of setting up at a pickleball club where you can do a two-person team. You could do all kinds of different things for them to wear in tournaments and things like that. And hiking groups, jeep clubs, kayak groups, fishing tournaments, hunting camps. I mean, there's running clubs, all kinds of things that people want to identify with. So, here's the decorator's edge to this. You have to understand the language and culture of that group. In other words, and I've used this as an example. I've said 1,000 times again, but if I try to sell to car clubs and I have a conversation with somebody from a car club, in about 3 minutes they realize that I don't know anything about cars. And they're not interested in buying from me because I'm not a car guy. So again, but everybody has hobbies, and I mean here everybody has to go hike Camelback Mountain and hopefully not helicoptered off the top like many people are. Because it's hot in Arizona, and you need to bring water. but I hiked Camelback. Would be an awesome shirt, and people would love to have that because it's kind of a badge of honor that you made it to the top. And no, I've never tried.
No, I mean, but that's the thing. I can even imagine having a shirt, a patch, a hat that says, drink more water, bring more water, and putting that out there for the people who know the local culture of Arizona. And New Mexico the same way, where we have that concept of like, here is a local area that has something about it specific that we know that you might not. That also is part of the thing. Inside jokes. I can't tell you how many times I've done stuff in this kind of realm that is an inside joke to some degree. And that's the thing. It's about belonging. You belong to the club. And if you know it, you know it. And with the micro communities of any kind, but especially the outdoor communities, that's another thing where specialized gear. We're talking about being out in the heat. Well, what do you need out in the heat? You need a good hat. You need a good breathable hat that's going to shield your face. There are things that you need. You're somewhere where it's constantly raining. You need rain gear. You're somewhere where it's constantly, you're dealing with the dust of the stuff. Maybe you want like a bandana or something to pull over your face. I know we used to do that out in New Mexico because you're just hiking through the dirt and the dust. It's like these kind of pieces of gear also might not be things people usually decorate, but we know that most of these transfers, there's a lot you can do with a lot of different materials and treatments. I mean, I will advise you, be careful with rain gear. With anything, rain gear's a pain because it's covered and everything else. So I know I said rain gear and now I wanted to walk it back immediately because I know how hard it is to get a heat press to adhere on rain gear and not kill it. But yeah, the one thing to think about here is just like everything else we've talked about today, there are these specificities that if you understand them, it's an instant in, and there's a desire, and it's probably an underserved market. And that's where you should be looking. No matter what we've talked about today, look for these areas where it's passionate people with an underserved market for whom that knowledge makes you part of the club.
Yep.
Those groups, 100% are perfect for this kind of work.
Yep, 100%. I love it. All right, what do we have next?
Yeah, let's get on to it. We have, because we might actually get through the list today. It might happen.
No.
It could happen. We might finish a list for once. Pop-up fundraiser stores for small causes is huge. This is huge. So families raising money for medical expenses, youth travel, mission trips, community projects, school trips, nonprofit campaigns, local emergencies. Even it's not just a need for printing, but it's making the fundraising simple. So especially if you're someone who is dialed in your ability to offer websites with production, with delivery done quickly, this is really awesome. So limited time designs are awesome for this. This is something you're going to have because these are events, these are quick. But this, if you're someone who can provide this kind of the order collection and organization, the production and the delivery distribution, and do this while avoiding having a bunch of inventory, because obviously this is something that the need rises and falls off immediately with these kind of events. These can really be valuable, and honestly, you're providing a wonderful service to the community when you're doing this. It's not just about, hey, I want to get in there to make money on this event while we hit it. It's more that these are things that need some sort of rallying cry, that need some exposure, and if you are really tight in the way you handle it, you can do it in a way that is good for you, profitable for you, but also simple for the people to run and make sure they can use that. Plus, a lot of these events, it is the t-shirt, it is the belonging that they're marketing, because if somebody is donating and part of what they get out of that donation is a t-shirt, is a hat, it is both advertising, marketing, impressions of that event, that need, that fundraiser to the community as you walk around wearing that shirt in your community, wearing that hat, whatever it is. And it is the ability to raise some money on the item itself. So you can do all of the above. It can just be, hey, we're doing this thing and we want you to know about it, or it can be part of that fundraising venture.
Right, and you touched on this. Make it easy to buy. That you're talking about, and as you said, volunteers. So it's step 1, step 2, step 3. I take care of it all, and it's when my daughter Taylor was in high school, their fundraiser for cheerleaders was, you can, and I've talked about this before because I think it's such a great idea. Any kids in the feeder schools, the middle schools and the elementary schools, could come on Saturday, learn a dance, and go on the field and do the dance with the cheerleaders at halftime next Friday night. Yeah. And there'd be 100 kids out there, and I think at the time it was like $20 fee. Well, guess what you got for your $20? A t-shirt. So did they want to stock a whole bunch of different t-shirts? No, but kids pre-signed up for this, and they actually come and they learn the dance, and right there is when maybe you go and you make sure that kid that says they're large, no, you're small, yeah. and then deliver those with the kid's name on the package. So make it easy to buy. So.
And we have a good comment from Ramona here too. I'll just put this up quickly. She said, I did a pop-up with DTF Transfer a couple years ago. It was a fundraiser for a friend who was sick, displayed 6 shirts, film was in a folder, 1 color shirt, and my heat press. It worked really well. Yeah, it's a fantastic way to handle that. And I'm going to tell you too, once again, small town stuff being different. I have seen lots of this fundraiser stuff here, but I will tell you right now that in the towns around me, there was a student, a young woman who had a cancer diagnosis. I have seen more cars, t-shirts, bumper stickers, banners with her name. I know nothing of her. I was not around when this happened, and they're still wearing them, using them now. It was an absolute explosion. Must have been, because the evidence is still there. People want to join in, they want to help, and this is a fantastic way to do it. And if you can provide that ability, you're going to win not only the order, but a lot of community goodwill, which is worthwhile too. I mean, if the purpose wasn't enough, which I think it should be, it's also awesome that you then become someone in the community who's part of those solutions and part of the understanding that, hey, you can do this, you're set up for it, you can help us down the road with other kinds of things like this. So it's a great opportunity for everybody.
100%. All right, I'm going to do the next one and the last one together because they're similar. Small business grand openings, rebrands. employee recognition, milestone gear, new restaurants, coffee shops, boutiques. If you see somebody's opening up a coffee shop in town, approach them about apparel and sell them the concept that, hey, at a coffee shop, employees come and they go. I can give every onboard person, you just tell me the size, and tomorrow when they start, I'm going to deliver the medium packet that has a couple of T-shirts or whatever that you want to provide to that employee, and it can be a regular business of and as I said. Maybe somebody starts working there because they're home from college but they're gone again in August. So you've got yet another new employee. But providing apparel for businesses, whether it's grand openings, whether it's apparel like we talked about that people wear in their daily job, and again. Recognition, maybe a polo that says, the name of your company in 10 years or something like that people really appreciate those things. And it's an inexpensive way to recognize somebody, but it goes a long way. And a lot of employers don't realize how much things like this recognition means to them. And I'll give an example that's not garment related. I did a survey of my 75 production floor employees when I was in Kansas City and said, what company benefits are offered? One of the high ones on the list was, if I do a really good job, I get 2 tickets to the movies and money for popcorn and drinks. They saw that as a company benefit, and so a shirt, a polo that says the name of your company in 10 years or 20 years or 5 years or whatever really goes a long way with people. They really appreciate it. Thoughts on that?
Oh no, I mean, honestly, there isn't much else to say aside from I just wholeheartedly agree, because I've seen tons of this stuff. I've done tons of this stuff. Certainly people on big milestones, like you said, I've kind of moved that over. We had the grand opening stuff, but I'm going to say, also the milestone recognition year, we're going to bring that last group into that. I've done tons of these recognition pieces for people, and I was always surprised at how desirable they were, because I kind of thought, I've been around groups where you go and you work for a company and they give you a cooler or something, and you're like, okay, that has nothing to do with my job, I don't really need it, I don't like this item. They didn't think about the item. But especially when it's for a recognition or for a milestone, it can be something really incredible, because it's something where it's related to their time there, is related to how they're doing there. But I also love this kind of grand reopening and rebrand. I have seen tons of small businesses. Once again, in my kind of year here now out in a more rural area, seeing people take over businesses and want to rebrand them and throw out a new graphic and say, hey, it's new. Like, we're in that old location, but we have new management, we have a new menu, we have whatever. They really do want to get out there and say, I want to plant my flag and say, this is who I am, and dress all the employees in a cool way and redesign stuff and set up the new, the graphics in the front window. And part of that can definitely be adding an entirely new set of apparel. With DTF, it means you don't have to do this massive amount of setup. And like you said, you can set yourself up for success by having the ability to do quick turnaround, having transfers on hand, either purchased or if you make transfers, and being able to create these quick turn kits for as you said, either high kind of turnover employees, or because you've got people coming on, you want to be able to launch and have them running in this new gear quickly. So I love both of these. I think there's really nothing that's bad about this. It's like, it allows you to let small companies, especially, and like I said, the Main Street companies, it allows you to let them brand and belong the way that your larger companies did. Because I used to do this stuff for really big multi-state companies that had lots of people, lots of turnover, multiple locations, and it's great that now with digital production we can allow that same thing to happen for the high, for the high street, the main street, the people who are out there
Yeah.
with, really sometimes not even double-digit employee counts, and we can allow them to do that and to refresh frequently, to have replenish stuff frequently, and to change their branding and change their design frequently.
Yeah, and don't show up with a price sheet and a business card. Show up with a shirt.
Yeah,
with,
why not?
With their graphic on it. And I would tell you this, and I've mentioned this before. I have never walked into a business where I had produced a shirt for them with their logo where I didn't get an order.
Yeah.
100% success. So,
For sure.
okay, bring us home.
Well, this is the last one we have, and we kind of out of order a little bit. Faith, mission, community group apparel, church groups, youth ministries, mission trips, Bible study groups, volunteer teams, retreats, community outreach programs also need apparel with meaning, of course. And this is, once again, shared purpose. DTF is good for smaller groups and colorful artwork, trip-specific designs, quick reorders. The funny thing is, I see this to me feels like it's just different flavors of this same kind of category. This goes in that purpose-based category, very much like the animal rescue stuff that we talked about earlier. It's just people who are linked by a common purpose, who do these events, who really want to belong and want to have these memories. And remember, especially with this kind of stuff, especially with youth groups, things like that, where there's trips involved, where there's groupings involved, where they're not only are they linked by a common purpose, in this case it's faith-based, mission-based, community groups, it can also be then we have these events around which people are building memories. We all have kept some sort of event-based apparel where it's like, what we're really keeping, are we keeping a t-shirt? No, we're keeping the memory of all the times we spent with those people. You have to remember that this stuff is going to be valuable to them on that basis, and being a part of that is awesome. But the great thing is we can make it, once again, just like we said earlier, digital production lets us make these more personal, more detailed, have art that we wouldn't have done necessarily in other production methods before. So awesome, again, getting it an ability to allow the long tail of these groups to have what used to be the entirely the province, or the province of much larger productions, and we can do that quickly and with the ability to handle all of that additional knock-on orders and all the stuff that comes with group apparel. Though I can't suggest enough that though we're talking about DTF markets here, the other shadow of thing we're discussing here on all of these groups is fulfillment, is order taking, and is being able to handle production for the kind of stuff that they need to do. So if you can do all of that, I think it is part and parcel with digital production is also understanding how your order systems work well, how to do fulfillment and finishing, and how to present a product and help deliver in a way that makes this easy.
I think also that a lot of folks that are in church groups, again, youth ministry, Bible study groups, they like the apparel because it helps them share their faith. And sure. if someone asks about it, and lots of mission trips here in Phoenix. Phoenix is, for anybody who doesn't know, is Salt Lake City South. So a very, very large Mormon community in Phoenix. So lots of folks going on mission trips, and then there's church camps and things like that. I don't know. Is there still church camp? When I was a kid, we always went to church camp.
I assume not something where I really have a lot of personal knowledge on it. I will say that there's all manner of things for different groups and social clubs and everything else too. I think, and this, I'll go ahead and bring this home with like a statement that Aaron wanted to make, and I think it's true. We'll just kind of finish this off and say, no matter which one of these categories there are, the niche here is not that you have digital production or DTF. DTF is an awesome tool, but what we're seeing here for all of these things are these customer groups that have an unmet need, these underserved markets, and then the way you can package the solution and you can solve for these groups. People who have purpose are going to have drive to buy for sure, but then we have all these people for whom the ability to do quick production, the ability to handle artwork that is more detailed, the ability to produce for smaller quantities or for higher turnover or more frequent revision, it really makes you a fantastic solution. And so digital production plus the ability to fulfill on time and deliver in a way that makes sense is absolutely wonderful. And by Ramona says church camp every year, so I guess she was part of that too.
Well,
absolutely.
Some people know that my dad was a Bible pounding Southern Nazarene preacher in Saltville, Virginia, where I grew up. So
Yep.
So always church camp. All right, Eric. We did it. We got them all in under time. What do you have coming up?
Today, I'm going to say that we are very likely taking a hiatus for the take-up today. It very well may not be an episode today, so watch for that. I will try and give it news for that later on today. If nothing else, next week I have Joe Kramer coming on. We're going to be talking about the myth of the universal canvas, which is talking about how embroidery really doesn't, a lot of new embroiderers don't take into account their fabrics, and we're going to talk about what happens with fabrics and why that has to be dealt with. So really look for next week as the big one. Today was going to be office hours. I think it may be a hiatus day for multiple reasons. So I think Take Up might be off today, but if you check me out at erichcampbell.com, you'll see me coming up next week.
Lots of episodes to listen to at your website.
Absolutely. So what do you got going on, Terry?
My complete screen printing business course. I'm going to be at Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago next week, June 6th and 7th. I believe there's still a couple of slots open, so there's still time to sign up at atlasscreensupply.com. I'll also be there August 22nd, 23rd, and November 7th and 8th. I'm going to be at DAX Nashville, June 19th and 20th. I'll be there with DTF Superstore. And awesome. Watch for all my upcoming events at terrycombs.com. Aaron has the next Business Builder Accelerator starts June 8th. You can get more details at osg.link/builder. Also, sign up for a no-charge clarity call right now. If you're feeling stuck, scattered, or second-guessing everything, this is for you. Yeah. The biggest wins I'm hearing are things like, I finally feel clear and I'm more confident in my pricing. That's a biggie. That's what it's all about, real clarity and actually enjoying your business again. Go to osg.link/builder and grab a time today. And speaking of Aaron, we have a secret sauce.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't we go ahead and check that out? He's got his secret sauce on the Combo Technique Upsell.
Are you a decorator who shows people basic options and then hope that they'll ask for something better? Spoiler alert, most of your customers will not ask for something better, not because they don't want it, they just don't know what's possible. And when that's the case, we are losing valuable profit because of it. Hey regulators, I'm Aaron Montgomery here today with the secret sauce. I want to share a psychological pricing and packaging move that I believe is going to get you more profit. I call it the Combo Technique Upsell move. This is where you take one decoration method and pair it with another to create something that feels more premium. Think embroidery with a printed background, a DTF print with a puff vinyl accent, a simple logo with a foil overlay, or a left chest embroidery paired with a bold sleeve print. The key here is not just adding more stuff. The key is creating more perceived value. You are not trying to sell harder. You're helping your customers see a better option and fall deeper in love with the project you're going to work on together. When a customer only sees a flat quote for a basic t-shirt, they're going to compare it to every other basic t-shirt quote they've ever received in their lifetime. But when they see a before and after, now they're comparing impact and not price. That really changes the conversation. Now, I know this is unusual for me, but I'm going to keep it short and sweet today. Here are 3 simple steps you can use right away to implement the Combo Technique Upsell. First, you're going to create a good, better, best sample. Take one design and produce it 3 ways. That basic print, and then you'll have another that's the print plus 1 enhancement, and then a third that's a premium version with 2 techniques. Make it physical if you can. Photos are fine, but nothing beats handing someone the actual garment and saying, here's what it looks like when we add a little more pop. Second, you're going to price the extras as an enhancement, not as a whole new product. Remember, you're creating perceived value, so pricing that's too low might not work. Then talk about it in a specific way. Instead of saying this shirt is now $13.50, say we can add the puff accent for $3.50 per shirt. Or the foil highlight is a $4 enhancement. That feels different to the customer. It's small, clearer, and tied direct to the value that they can see. Third, show the before and after every time. Don't just explain it, show it. Put the basic version next to the enhanced version, then ask a simple question. Which one feels more like the look you want people to notice? That question moves decisions away from pricing alone and towards the outcome that they actually care about. Let me give you a quick example. A school booster club comes in and they want some spirit shirts. The basic design is a one-color front print. Totally fine. Nothing wrong with that. But you show them the same thing with a puff vinyl mascot name across the chest, or maybe a metallic accent on the team slogan, suddenly it feels like something students will actually want to wear, not just another fundraiser shirt that ends up in the back of their drawer. Now, the customer can see why the upgrade matters. You're not just pushing them into something they don't need, you are giving them a better choice. Now, some customers will still choose the basic option, and that's totally okay. But many will choose the enhanced version once they can see the difference, especially when the price is framed as a clear add-on instead of a scary jump to a higher total price. Customers will pay more when they can clearly see what more gives them. Practice offering the enhancement as an option, not pressure, not hype, just here's another way we can make this stand out for you. That's your secret sauce. Show the difference, price the enhancement, and let the customer choose the value they can see.
Awesome. Great secret sauce, as always.
Yeah. All right, we've come to another close of the show, so thank you guys for tuning in today.
Thanks, Eric, for not only jumping in Aaron's... What's that?
Trying to push buttons.
Thanks, Eric, for hopping into Aaron's seat and for pushing all the buttons at the same time. And before we go any further, happy birthday to Crafty Scotty there in the chat.
Absolutely. Happy birthday, man. All right. Next week, we're going to have David Connor in, joining us to talk about print on demand. A timely topic, obviously.
Exactly right. Until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Erich Campbell, sitting in for Aaron Montgomery.
And that was the Two Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Two Regular Guys. We're here because of listeners like you, and we're so grateful to have you on this journey with us. For more valuable insight, be sure to visit our website, 2regularguys.com, and join the conversation on our Facebook page. And hey, if you or someone you know has expertise, a unique perspective, or a story worth sharing, we'd love to have them as a guest on the show. Just reach out. Remember, success in this industry isn't just about the equipment you own or the techniques you've mastered. It's about the mindset you bring and the connections you build. Keep learning, stay curious, and don't be afraid to think differently. Keep pressing on, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Two Regular Guys.